US and allies to build China-free tech supply chain.
Here's a summary of the article.
Washington, Taipei. US President Joe Biden is set to sign an executive order as early as this month to accelerate efforts to build supply chains for chips and other strategically significant products that are less reliant on China, in partnership with the likes of Taiwan, Japan and South Korea. The document will order the development of a national supply chain strategy, and is expected to call for recommendations for supply networks that are less vulnerable to disruptions such as disasters and sanctions by unfriendly countries. The order states that, working with allies can lead to strong, resilient supply chains, suggesting that international relationships will be central to this plan. The US plans to share information with allies on supply networks for important products and will look to leverage complementary production. Restructuring supply chains is likely to take quite some time, particularly in semiconductors. Washington has already begun laying the groundwork, calling since last fall for economies that are rich in valuable technology or resources, such as Taiwan, Japan and Australia, to join it in disentangling supply chains from China amid simmering tensions with Beijing. Japan's Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry has since last year been leading an effort to attract TSMC to the country, to not only establish a more solid three-way supply network, but also provide Japan with a secure future source of cutting-edge chips.
This post received a score of 3,800, with an upvote ratio of 95%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
So I guess Nixon's policy of weakening the communist bloc by drawing China into the Western bloc is now being replaced by a policy of weakening China by forcing them to rely more heavily on the BRIC bloc. Swings and roundabouts.
50-year-old policies tend to become obsolete.
Yeah, Nixon was spot on for the time for that.
That was already happening even before COVID and even before Trump. But it's not entirely about China's politics or any Sino-American Cold War BS. Labor costs in China are going up and it no longer makes economic sense to outsource low-wage commodities manufacturing to China. Xi's nationalistic push, Trump's trade war, and the supply chain vulnerabilities exposed during COVID have only accelerated an ongoing shift by Western companies to move to domestic, automated, manufacturing or outsource from China to the PC-16 countries.
American companies promptly begin moving production to Vietnam.
I'd love a CCP-free watermark on products.
That wouldn't resolve the initial problem, which is allegedly human rights. We are gonna move slave labors in China to slave labors in India or Asia and pat ourselves in the back.
Yeah, I laughed when I read that a tech company was pulling out of China and moving to India. History repeats itself. From Nixon to Trump. From China to India.
USA says Taiwan is not China confirmed.
How about actually promoting better labor practices worldwide, holding corporations accountable, treating ordinary citizens better regardless of where they come from, and equal justice for all? Moving supply chain out of China means letting a poor kid from some other country with subpar human rights record do the dirty work and pollute their air. People act like China is the only evil power in the world, as if the same companies don't have operations in countries like Bangladesh, Vietnam, Honduras, or Colombia already. That's better? Holding China accountable? How about we start holding the companies that actually made the decision to exploit others accountable? Making blood money off other poor countries hardly leads to any desirable outcome, and then the merry goes around. When money is suddenly involved, bad actors show up and a dozen other Chinas will pop up.
This comment right here, people on this site love jerking off to their hatred of China but refuse to acknowledge the real problems at hand.
Taiwan is the world's center of chip production. The US, Japan, South Korea and the EU know about their reliance of Taiwan. So I guess we will see the Taiwan-China issue escalate during the Biden administration. If China manages to do to Taiwan what it did to Hong Kong, we'll be fucked for quite some time, until we have set up our own fabs. The problem with running fabs is that they require an enormous investment and are only profitable if they are running at 100%. Also, you can't just build more chips than the market is demanding, in order to stockpile them and sell them later, because chips do have an expiration date, if they are to be used in important environments like cars or airplanes.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.